Good morning. It's William. Welcome to another video. Um, as a business owner, the one of the main things that you have to look at is foretelling the future. As difficult as that may sound, I remember when I was a division manager for a company in Austin. Um, One year, the owner gave for Christmas. He gave out a book called "Who Moved My Cheese." If you haven't read that book, you need to read that book. And basically, what it is finding the next. You don't have all your eggs in one basket. Is basically what that book was about. And as much as I love the knife world, as much as I enjoy everything that I do in knives and everything, it is still a business. So, with that said, um, I have been exploring because one thing that I see is everything is tightening up. Materials is tightening up. If you can get them, then they're going to be very expensive here very soon. I don't see the pricing of anything going down anytime soon, if it ever. Um, and I understand the crunches that's coming because it's starting to affect the bottom line at WC Knives as well. So I understand what's coming, and the some of the comments that I'm getting about pricing and all this other stuff. Well, folks, it is what it is. You know, but there is some things that I'm trying to do that will alleviate some of that cost. When you're talking about and I'll give you an example of some of these knives. I was supposed to have shipped them out yesterday, but I ran out of shipping material, and this has wax on the blade. But when you're talking about a knife that is made out of 3V steel and it has a multi-grind or multifaceted grind, this blade has 3 grinds on it. Okay? So every time you touch this knife to a sand belt, that costs you money in labor, materials. It adds, the expenses keep adding up. It's like a ticking time bomb. It just keeps ticking away. And the more time you spend on a blade, the more cost it is to the company. And if you don't recoup that cost, you won't stay in business because it is a business. And somebody had contacted me, and this was a custom build. This is one of the, I think this is number 2 or number 3 custom builds. Here's another one, custom build. Desert ironwood. This one was Osage orange, custom lasering on it. And again, these blades are wax coated because they, this one's 01, because they're for shipping, because I don't want them to rust in the post office. But someone had asked me, and I may ramble a little bit, so please bear with me. Someone had asked me, oh, here's another custom I need to do the lasering on. So, anyway, we're starting to get the customs done. Someone had asked me several weeks ago, if not a couple of months ago, if I had any advice in starting a business, a knife business. And I think the best advice that I could give is you can't look at it as a knife business. You have to look at it as you're selling yourself. You're selling a brand. And I hate to use the term sell, but I mean, that's once you get to the bottom line, and that's what everything boils down to is the bottom line, because if it wasn't profitable, then you couldn't stay in the business. But instead of saying that you're selling a knife, you have to sell a brand, because that knife design is going to go away. And if you don't have brand recognition, then you're not going to be able to sell the next item that comes up. And that goes with any knife or any business, really. You're selling a brand, and you're building trust in that brand. So, and I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but back to the thing. Every time we have to go to another step in building a knife, that costs money. That costs whether it be labor, whether it be sand belts, whatever it is, it costs money. So for the past few weeks, I've been saying, okay, um, I know that there's some things coming, that money's going to get tight for everyone, and it's going to get tight for me as well. So what can I do as a business owner to provide something to my customer base that is more cost efficient or effective? That it's a kind of a win-win for both of us. So the less times I have to touch a knife, the better off we are, as far as price-wise. And there was an example of that with the Mini. The Mini came in at a base price a lot less than what a normal knife would, because it only had one grind. So that's the less times I had to touch it. It was a very small knife, so it cost less on steel. The handles were very, very thin, so those handles were cheaper. So I was able to do that knife at a cheaper price than I would say something like this. Okay, because when you look at this, this has, most normal knives has two knives in the steel. Okay, so when you start looking at it that way, then you can start understanding the pricing. So for steel, sand belts, everything else, to build this knife, it takes twice as much as it does for something like this. Okay, so you have to kind of look at that at pricing and materials that way, as a businessman or business person. So, and to expand on that, I've been thinking about how else can I make basically an my mouth ain't working right this morning, an economy line. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that we're going to do away with all the stuff that we've done so far. No, that's not what this is about. This is to give another line, so somebody that doesn't want to spend $300 on a knife, that could spend, maybe half that, and still get a good high quality handmade knife. So I was playing around. If you're part of my social media, then you've seen this knife. If you're not part of social media, then what are you waiting for? You're missing out on a lot of good stuff, man. Get on over to Facebook. Hey, I know it's bad, it's horrible, it's all this other stuff, but hey, a lot of things that you do in the world is the same way. So use them. All right. So anyway, this is kind of what I'm thinking about. And basically, it's just a skeleton knife with a paracord wrap, because it's a small knife. It's got a paracord wrap, or you could take the paracord off. I understand that paracord in certain situations is going to get nasty, funky, and but hey, it's paracord. Take it off, rewrap it with some new. I mean, what does it cost you? 10 cents, 20 cents? So, but I mean, this is what I'm thinking about. Is it still has the dual grind or multi grind, which is better description because it has 3 grinds to it. But it's a smaller knife. It still has enough to kind of give you somewhat a comfort feeling of using it. I mean, you wouldn't want to use this thing for 8 hours and it's not as comfortable as, say, one of these knives. All right. but it'll get the job done. Okay, but it still has that WC grind, that WC quality as far as heat treat and all this other stuff. It just doesn't have the handle that say the other knives have. But and so that is what I'm thinking about or what I'm leaning towards. And another example is, say, something like this, and I haven't even named this knife yet. This is prototype A, with just a 1/8 inch handle. I mean, it's basically stick a handle on it and do a little bit of sanding. It's not a whole lot of shaping and palm sanding and hand sanding, and because when you set a handle, you're looking at probably a good hour and a half in man hours to set, shape, and polish and all this other stuff. Well, something like this, I mean, you're looking at what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So, it's just things like that that I'm looking at to help alleviate some of the cost associated with a handmade knife. And these are all handmade. So I just want to let you guys know that I understand what's coming. I see what's coming. I know the crunch is coming. And just on a side note, I would recommend preparing solid assets because the dollar value is going down, is plummeting with inflation. So keeping a lot of money in the bank, be sure and have some. I mean, I'm not saying get rid of all of it, but if I was going to give any advice, and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I don't give advice, financial advice, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I am investing in food and ways to preserve that food and keep enough cash on hand to pay my bills for 6 months. That's what I'm doing. Rest of it is going into hard assets, something that you can feel, touch, that's going to be worth something on the other end of this. Okay? I was telling somebody I was invested in precious metals, ABL, Nitro V, those precious metals, which is what I'm doing. I've been buying a lot of steel and having it shipped to my fabricator, my water jet company. So, but things like that, prepare folks, because I think it's going to get a little rough this year. I really do. And so in order for us to keep our doors open, I'm trying to do something that's going to be cost effective for you guys and still keep the lights burning for WC knives. Okay? But that doesn't mean we're going to do away with everything else. I mean, this is just another add to WC knives. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If that's something that you would be interested in. I know somebody had mentioned in social media that do away with the paracord. I mean, you can do away with the paracord if you wanted to. That's just an idea. I mean, it makes it more comfortable to use a little bit longer if you wanted to. Maybe something like this. I mean, you're adding cost every time you put something on a knife. You're adding cost to it, but it's not as cost. I mean, this knife is not going to cost you $300. So probably maybe two, a little less than two. But it's just one of those things that I'm trying to think about how to provide you guys with a high quality product and still meet today's financial situation. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I've been using this now. It kind of grows on you. It's a little small, but hey, it's not that bad. Not that bad at all. It's small. I like that. I'm trying to think of a name. Kind of like compact. A WC compact. Compact. Yeah, maybe so. We'll see. Tell me in the comments below what you think about this new product line and thought process. If that's something that interests you, then please leave a comment. I'm not interested in negative stuff, because I mean that's not what we're here for. We're here for positive. If you like the idea, then give it a thumbs up or make a comment. If you don't like the idea, then give it a thumbs down. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that either. So until the next one, you guys get in the backyard, whittle on a stick. Be sure and take a child with you, get the opportunity. And don't forget those plenty of Band-Aids and lots of knives. We'll catch you again very soon.